and aired right here and published through the coloredonlycafe.com right here through Urban Country Film. So it was great. I had not done that type of concept prior, and we're still developing it because it's going to now include a live cooking element when we relaunch it next month. But definitely, he was the first one, and he was a great guest. I'm sure you will agree. He was a
Yeah,
really great guest to have,
absolutely,
especially on my first one. It
absolutely,
was amazing.
absolutely. You know what I mean? And so when I saw that, I was just like, hey, let's we have to have Courtney. We can't speak about King Randall without having
Ah,
Courtney and Mega, help us out. So without further ado,
thank you.
Simp um,
real quick.
commentary, or are you aware of this term and how this is being used to further divide our communities? Are you aware of this?
Yeah, I get the terminology, yeah, or whatever, but yeah, I get the terminology.
And I said, I thank God that my father was a quote unquote simp. My dad married my mom after her divorce, and she had three children. He had none.
Mhm.
He married her, bought a house. All of us, I didn't come along until about 10 years after, they were married, about a decade later.
Mhm.
But, all of us college graduates, and there was never a time in my family's life where my father made my siblings feel like, because they didn't come from his blood, that they didn't come from his heart.
Mhm.
And also my siblings, also grew up, knowing the difference, and their father, their biological father, also
Mhm.
used to come and pick them up and engage. So I think we need to narrative control is so important and significant, and that's what I want to kind of transition this conversation to. Why? Because you said a couple of key things. I got my notepad out here, um, and you said a couple of key things that were very significant in that statement in regards to uh, seeing the that you were a male figure, and you were this way because you saw, you were exposed to being treated this way, but a substantial male figure, because that's the key point right there. There are times where women have, as single mothers, we have access to men that will be involved, in their lives, but are they going to be substantial men of influence? That's the big question. So let me ask you this. Did you realize how special the engagement with your stepfather was? I think you said fourth grade was when your mother married your stepfather. Did you realize how special that was when you first met him? And like I said, we're transitioning the conversation to talk about how significant it is to control that narrative of quality man, substantial man. But did you realize how special you were to be able to have these type of opportunities, even though, like you said, you weren't in the best of neighborhoods, but you were able to, have the gardening experience, and you were still able to be exposed to a man of quality, a man of substance. And then on top of that, this was not just a man, but this was a man that married your mother. Were you aware of how special that was at the time?
Of course not at a time. Most children aren't really going to recognize, how special something is until you get older, and that's okay. But of course, I wasn't a bad child. I did everything. We went fishing and hunting and all that stuff. So yeah, I did all that stuff, and I thought it was great and fun. But it didn't, dawn on me how special that was until I got older and realized, how many of these young children don't have that, in their lives, or somebody to take them out of town, or somebody to go fishing with them, etc. These children have never been out of town or nothing. These children I deal with on a daily basis. Some of them hadn't even been to just like some of the little restaurants around town. Like,
No, no. I'm glad you asked that question, Courtney, because and I just landed the video wherever it landed and pressed just press play. But I'm really glad you asked that specific question because that is a key element to changing the future of our community is
Mm-hmm.
investing that little time and energy, right? Rather than money, right?
Right.
It's not about which is important, and I don't want to take anything away from the child support check, ladies. Don't come at me, right? But the value of a man being there to teach you how to change a tire, to teach you how to fish, to teach you how to go hunting, to go camping, to those things that men pass down to boys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so very important, and it's missing. Now, Courtney, how long ago was that interview?
It was back in May, actually. King Randall was one of the recipients for our claim Malcolm X Day of Leadership Award, and Malcolm X Day, of course, is May 19th, and so he was literally the first major guest that we announced as being a supporter of Claim Malcolm X Day, and as being was going to be a featured speaker. He was a featured speaker, and to date, he was responsible for the most amount of ticket sales. He sold 50 tickets worth. So it was great to have him on, and he was very generous. Even, you know, when he got there and he received his award, and he got a copy of Malcolm X, The Rising, the new Malcolm X book, and he went back to Barnes and Noble and he ordered multiple copies of the book for his book club. So he really, when I tell you, just genuine, and did not stop. Like, he did not come and get his whatever and say, you know, hey, you know I sold this many tickets, give me a percentage, which he absolutely would have been entitled to do. He did not, and it just kept blowing my mind that this dude is 20, like at the time of the interview, he just had a birthday recently, but he's 21 years old at that interview time. And I think that, you know, I love that you did stop it there, and that it's a discussion, because I made a decision just 2 weeks ago, and I took my ex-husband off of child support. You know, now that we have the monetized website, so y'all know I'm believing for everything, and the way my face is set up. And he is, you know, he's raising our son. My son now resides with him, and he was still willing to send me half, you know, for my daughter, a little more than half. And I said, no, you know, I said, just feed our boy, because you're doing the work. So I said, just feed that boy. You know, she's easy, you know, especially the gentleman I'm dating, and, you know, they both have candy and sugar addiction. So I said, I know her needs are going to be met, but you're feeding, not just, figuratively, but literally feeding our son.
Right. You're feeding, you're putting all the things that into him that's going to make him a man, be able to teach him how to
absolutely
naturally take care of his family when he reaches to that point.
Absolutely.
And that's why when I say that, you know, the title young black men winning, this is what I'm talking about, because so back in May, that was, and I remember from that interview, you know, we didn't land on that part, but you guys were speaking about this school that he was trying to get accomplished. Yeah,
that he was raising the funds for, and the difficulty that he was having, because he's out of Albany, Georgia. Of course, I'm here in Atlanta. You know, I was thinking that it would have been easier where there are, because, you know, when the work is concentrated, it's really easy to, I'm sorry, my cat's tail keeps fluffing. Keeps hitting the board. But when you're from an area where your work is concentrated, it's easy to see what you're doing. And like how we always say there's no same coincidence. So here I have on my Coconut Grove shirt, as you know, I was an elected official there. And I didn't understand why he was having so much opposition, because I'm like, they can see your work. It's not like it's a situation where, you know, you're trying to build a school in Atlanta, which does happen. People, they go out of their area to get funding because their area may not be, you know, as receptive to their ideas.
Right.
And so, but I was just like, it was crazy to me because it was obvious that he had the support. He had the he had the boots on the ground. He had the work. People could see they were coming from other places to Albany to support. So I just like, wow, why do you think you're finding such opposition? And at the time when I spoke to him, he had the keys, and they were looking forward to. They had an opening date. They were just getting things prepared. Shortly after, I want to say back in June, when he went before the school board about getting his school recognized and declared as, a legal educational institute, they were actually stopping him because they wanted him to use a certain curriculum. And he's like, y'all don't know my boys. I'm not going to use the curriculum that y'all just handed me out just like any other school. I wouldn't have put this thing together myself, wouldn't have organized the funding myself if I could just send them off to another, school.
Right, and it's a very important.
The way that they're being taught is failing them. That's why, like you said, it's no coincidence, and it's really divine alignment that you landed on the section when you did that talks about narrative control.
Right.
Because
right.
Here this person was, he was putting together his own money, his own donors, supporting, building his own school, and they wanted to. You do that, but we're gonna still give you our curriculum.
Yeah, you're gonna do things how we're gonna say.
Doing it all myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, and the resistance is key because a lot of times, like we were saying earlier, a lot of times you push and you get so much resistance to where you just kind of like the resistance wears you down after a while. Mm-hmm. Well, shout outs to young black men winning. Like, break through the resistance. Keep pushing through the resistance. Push through the resistance because here's the other part. Here's a follow-up to the story, guys.
So in keeping with my promise to elevate black voices that deserve to be heard and are completely ignored by everyone else in the media, we have a follow-up tonight on a story we brought you back in May. The story of 22-year-old King Randall. Now, King's group, the Extra Boys, has empowered his community at-risk youth by not only giving them a safe space, a safe place, but also through education. And he's also not just teaching out of a textbook. King teaches his kids everything from how to change a tire to how to mow a lawn. When we last spoke with King, King was battling with his local school board leadership, who was doing everything possible to keep him from opening his own school. People said it was impossible for this 22-year-old kid to run a school, but he's defying the odds and is now set to open up his first school next fall. King Randall is the founder of the Extra Boys, and he joins me now with an update. King, always so proud of you, brother. How were you able to do this? Because they were throwing everything at you.
Man, Lawrence, I'll say this. I believe, that anybody who says that something can't be done doesn't know my God. And I think that's extremely important for us to know. We have to make sure that we are creating competing machines for these different progressive systems that are plaguing and destroying our communities. Our children are failing at reading. Our children are failing at many different things in our local hometown of Albany, Georgia. But here we are trying to help our young men and push them forward by creating this program called the Extra Boys. We read with them weekly. This is every week. We do workshops with them. We teach them firearms training. We teach them how to work on cars. We teach them how to work on houses. They've done welding, many different things, just trying to give them an idea of how to make it and how to survive, how to make it happen. These children just need to see possible. And so many of our children in the city of Albany don't get to see possible. But right now, they're going to see a 22-year-old young man who's not too far out from age from any of the boys in the program. They're going to see me open up my own school in fall of 2022, and we're going to flourish. They told me that it was going to be impossible to run our school on private donors, yet here our private donors have shown up in 24 hours for us to raise $50,000 for renovations on our new 3 buildings that we purchased. So here we are defying the odds because they don't know my God.
So, King, I guess my big question, it's almost rhetorical. Why don't we hear more stories like you out there? Because they exist. I try to cover them every week.
I'll definitely say many of our favorite black leaders whom are pushed in the media, whom have their fists up, etc., are more focused on, the different ideologies that are kind of plaguing our communities. I always say, people have accused me of getting funding from the GOP, etc. I'm like, actually, I haven't gotten a call from the GOP, but your favorite black voices are being paid by this same system that you claim is oppressing you. But you get mad at me and call me a sellout for not selling out to the system. This is what we deal with. I remember one of the biggest catchphrases for Black Lives Matter was "I can't breathe." Well, we have so many young black men in our cities that are saying right now that they can't breathe, yet they're standing around. They have so much energy for young black men after they're dead, but we need to be fighting for young black men before they die.
Maybe the GOP should call you. Maybe every conservative organization that is focused on outreach should reach out to you. You're teaching them stuff that is going to carry them a lifetime. You're not just teaching them, you're making the next generation of men that are going to take care of their families, that when their wife can't do her oil change, they can change the tire, do the oil change, all of that. And it shouldn't be just, peed on.
Right, absolutely. And, I shun at people who try to politicize my message. I've had a lot of, people, even conservatives, get upset with me for maybe going to different spaces to where maybe black people don't have the best, ideas or sayings about white people or et cetera. And I'm just like, no, I have to go to these spaces to give the message. I have to go there and tell them the truth about what's actually going on in our communities, because the black voices that they're putting out in front of us are not telling us the truth about what's going on in our communities. We have to push that forward. So, yes, we're building young men. I'm trying to make it a unity piece where we're unifying so many different groups of people. Our following is so diverse. We have liberals, we have conservatives, we have libertarians, etc., who literally support our program because of that one main message. And if I can get them all to see that you have the same issue, it's not within your race, it's not within the parties, it's within your government. And if we all unify on one front and go confront our issues, we can make something happen. And that starts with our young men.
That's right. You can't.
Young black men winning. Look at you. Look at you. You smiling from ear to ear. You could not.
I'm smiling because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, like, he hit the nail on the head with so many different perspectives and points of view. We have community leaders out there, and it's funny because these are black people, and he mentioned Black Lives Matter, and what did it for me was he said they have so much energy for black men after they're dead, but what about the living?
Right.
Where's the support for the living black men?
Exactly. The support is quite the opposite, because the support is to keep the money in the pockets and keep our young men oppressed. Keep our young men lost and confused, and that's exactly why he was getting so much pushback into doing this, and exactly why they were trying to force their own curriculum, because that curriculum it prepares you to be a good employee or an inmate. You get one or the other.
That's it. It prepares. It enables you with built-in excuses and your not even reasons, but it enables you with your built-in excuses and your built-in responses to the systematic oppression.
Right.
It definitely it aligns you with it. And what I love about this too, if you follow this gentleman's page, and his page on IG is Emerging King. What he has exposed during this process is these people that you would tout, or you would think rather, oh, this is my big girl here, this is Stormy, she's a queen, she must really like what's going on here. Like, well, what is going on, Mom? Look at that baby.
Look at
Big girl. Yeah, she don't come out for nothing. But what he exposed during this whole process is that the people that you think would be all for him, they were the main ones trying to derail his plans.
Right.
They were the main ones saying, well, why are you having to do it this way? And he's challenging them, look around. Has has this been working for us the way it's being done? Why do you have to come up with your own, curriculum? The curriculum that these boys have is failing them. The system that they have is failing them. When they come out of juvenile detention facilities and they come out of that system, they don't have a fallback plan. There is no fallback plan for them. There is only a get back into the system plan.
Right.
And so he's like, we're giving them tools, we're giving them skills, we're giving them a new mindset. This is something that this is committed to, because with this, I can show you how I've made a change. And they're like, this is what the city should be doing, but the city is not.
Exactly.
So what are we supposed to do if the city's not doing? So the real surprise came in this, Andre and Shelley, is the exposure that not only that he got for what he was doing and how so many people resonated with it, but it exposed that the system is absolutely in place. And guess what? I love what Queen Neat says. Racism is a team sport. And so that means everybody is on that team. You got black people on that team, because black people love a winning team. Okay? They love a winning team. We just found that out. The Atlanta Braves brought home a world championship, and they rolled out evictions on the same day as the parade went marching through. If we really about what we say we're about, none of us should have been out at that parade. And I'm speaking for self. I love the Braves. I wasn't out there. I love baseball. I wasn't out there. But that's how you show that you're not about the tomfoolery, but that's where you show that you're not committing and you're not submitting to the system of oppression. Is you show that you're not complicit by fighting against it.
Right.
And too many of us, like you said earlier, Andre, we get so worn down. It's like if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
But you don't realize that, this is not a situation about beating them. This is a situation about destroying it. And you're not going to destroy it if you are complicit. You rest not, do not get tired, do not get weary, because your health is. And I love that the video that he was in this morning that you shared, where he said, people that doubted him, they must not know how my faith is set up. Right. I say the same thing. As right now, as you both know, I'm pursuing to close on a former plantation and a farm. And we are within goal. We're within goal. But there were so many people that have said, well, nobody just gonna give you a house. I don't expect for nobody to just give me a house. I expect on me taking the house the same way when they marched up, they took the house.
Right. Working for it. You putting in the work.
They weren't waiting on no credit scores. Emmett Till, Tulsa, what's y'all credit score like before we come down there?
Yeah.
So why would I I would like to duplicate the system of success. And the system of success is just figuring out how I can commandeer it, and that's what I'm going to do. But again, it's always a surprise, because you would think that, people will want this. Plantations for reparations is a very feasible and doable legislation, real time, right now. But so many people are just like, I don't even want a plantation. Why would you want a plantation? So let me get this right. You all right just living in the project then? Why want a plantation? But
no, because it's called a plantation.
Section 8 voucher.
Because it's called a plantation, and mindset, man, it brings you back to the top of the story, man.
Yeah, so just change. Like I said, instead of calling it a plantation, we call it a village, because that's what we're building. But you say, I could never live on there, and that should be destroyed. But you go to that, your one bedroom, Section 8 covered place, cramped in, and you have all of these issues as far as, with pest control and the area and this and that, but you don't have no problem with that.
Right. And I think a lot of that, Courtney, is being worn down. You know what I mean? Being worn down. And at every turn I've tried, I've failed. Something has stepped in my way. I turned and I tried and I failed. And a lot of people don't realize that give up point where you just say, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and join them because I can't beat them. if you would have went a little bit further,
A little longer. That help was coming.
your breakthrough was right there. You had 2-3 more steps to go.
And you know what's the worst? When you see someone else do it. You know, and you think, dang, I was doing that for how many years, and
Right.
you know, nothing broke through.
Right,
You know,
right.
but the moment you see somebody else breaking through, you're like, dang, you know, that could have been me.
Right,
That
right.
could have been me.
Stop short of the
That's
goal.
the difference.
And that's
That's
why I love the
very
fact that
cool.
we can report stories like these so people
Yeah.
can see that example. Because imagine if, you know, we were talking about this stuff and there was nothing to show
Right.
to give people
Right.
that extra push and that extra inspiration to say, well, hey, if somebody's doing it, I can do it
I
too.
can do it
It can
too.
be done.
Right.
You guys just hit something right on the head, because that's the one thing about representation.
Mhm.
I love this movie. If you ever get a chance to watch it, it's called, now this is cloudy, this is Sir Fluff Puffy Tail. But it's called Up in the Air. And George Clooney is a character that, I forget his name in the movie, but the movie is called Up in the Air. And he basically is always going around to these different organizations and businesses, because he's basically like a mobile human resource. Like, people hire him to come in and fire people instead of having people that people work with, because, you know, that's always a weird thing. It's hard for you to ask someone that you work with to fire somebody, because, you know, you might have built a rapport. So he's the person that goes in, he gets hired to go in and basically fire people. And so he asked this
Pretty good
question at
gig.
the top of the movie, and at the end of the movie they answered it. So I'm not giving up too much of a spoiler alert, because a lot of stuff happens in the course of the movie. But he said, why do children love rock stars? And so throughout the course of the movie, you see everybody say different answers. They say things like, you know, some of the boys, of course, say, easy, you know, because they get some of the men rather say, because they get to, you know, bang all the women. He's like, children don't know about no banging all the women, so, you know, well, most don't. So, no, that's not the answer. Then the women would say, well, of course, you know, they have access to all this money, and, you know, children like to see, you know, people have a lot of money, they like to see prosperity. No, you know, what have you. But at the end of the movie, he said the reason why children love rock stars is because it represents someone who never gave up on their dream. Because what do you want children dream to be? They dream to be a rock star. And this is someone that actually did it. This is someone that actually did it. That
Wow.
makes the big difference.
Yeah.
Having the representation makes the difference. And like you said too, Shelly, me seeing him actually be able to achieve it even with the opposition, I have a new spirit on me. Now I have literally meetings set up now from 9 until 1 o'clock that, you know, about the plantation. Like, just that clip, and I thank you for sending that this morning, Andre, because just that clip, I'm just like, heck yeah, that's right. You know, the way my face set up,
Right.
you know, these people that doubt it, they must not know. The money that we need for things is so small to the amount of money that's actually out there floating. It's minuscule.
Right.
It's minuscule.
Really? Real quick.
Joe Biden just approved $603 billion for the Afghan refugees, and we gonna sit up here and say, well, we can't get $1 million for reparations because they ain't got it.
Yeah,
You know how many
yeah.
people out there that say they ain't got that type of money? America is bankrupt. But
Listen,
they
guys.
bankrolling other demographics. But they so bankrupt.
Listen, guys, this is Courtney Omega, and the way Courtney Omega is set up, if you look on your screen right now, coloredonlycafe.com. Now, Courtney, while I scroll through the pages here on Colored Only Cafe and give them a preview, because I'm a member, so I can do this. You know what I mean? I can go ahead and I can scroll through freely. You know what I mean? Because I'm a member.
Andre and Shelly for being members, because you know the way the system is going right now, I can't even be a member. And so we're working on it. You know, y'all a member before me. You know, I got my coins ready. I can't be a member. But Colored Only Cafe is an exploration between cuisine, culture, and conversation. It is, you can find not only here on this site a way to engage in a more colorful life, as I say, but it's not just about who we serve, it's what we serve. And what we serve is literally the movement on the menu. We have different aspects and different elements to get involved with. And of course, like, I love figures, I'm a wordplay girl by heart. So I love the wordplay of that, but we talk about literally and figuratively. And I want to give major props to a former pastor of mine, Pastor Kathy out of Miami. Literally during a point in my life, and you never know the shades of life that people are going through at the time, right? They may look black, but it might be, a totally blue day for them. And she was often, at one point in my life, her particular program, which was the Food for the Soul program, was the only time during the week where I had a full meal. It was the only time during the week. I was just starting my divorce, and I wasn't on any assistance at that time, because you have to wait a couple of months before the alimony payment set in and all of that good stuff. And I wasn't on any assistance, and I didn't have access to my alimony yet, and so I could not afford to go and get the type of foods that I was able to get when I had a significant other, and to do this extreme shopping to feed my, whatever desires I had for the evening. And she had this incredible program called Food for the Soul. And you would come in and get a sermon, and you would have a full buffet of all of these great restaurants. It was Cheesecake Factory, it was Prime, it was, Red Lobster, just wonderful, wonderful restaurants. And for the payment, instead of paying money, you sat down and you listened to the sermon. So, honey, I became into that word. I said every Tuesday night I was going to get some food for the soul. Food for the Soul. And Pastor Kathy out of Miami was the one who pioneered this project, and it was amazing. And this is the type of energy that I bring to Colored Conversations, the Colored Only Cafe. At a lot of my events, they are free events. And I give the food. I just, I'm supplying some knowledge. We just had an incredible event last Saturday, the RISE Forum, Renters Investing, Stop Eviction. Did we know that we are 70% of the renting industry? So when I say this, if we're 70% of the renting industry, why are we struggling to pay rent? I got calls yesterday. I got 2 calls yesterday, and the people were saying, "Hey, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to pay, next month or whatnot." And I said, "So what would you be doing if you weren't paying rent?" "Oh my gosh, I'd be able to, I'd be able to share my craft, or I'd be able to be a tutorer because I want to tutor."
Right.
I said, "So just do it."
Just do it.
What you mean? Just don't pay rent? What you mean? That's a hard concept for people. What? Just stop doing it. What they gonna do? If 70% of us stop paying rent, guess what's gonna happen? No more rent.
Yo, Courtney Omega, man.
Housing.
Listen,
we are housing.
Tell us.
So you're gonna get that type of food for thought too.
Exactly. And tell us again, Courtney. How do we get in touch with Courtney Omega before we get to this Sizzla Kalonji?
Absolutely. So I am, again, Colored Only Cafe. I'm definitely so proud to be a part of the Urban Country Films family. You can get in touch with me at coloredonlycafe.com. You can get in touch with me via email, groupblowup@gmail.com. I also have a platform, a channel on YouTube. It is Omega Courtney, just my name backwards. Social media, I am on Instagram mostly. I do have a Facebook account, but I have no access to it. But you can find me there on Facebook under Courtney Omega. And then Instagram, I am Colored Only Cafe and Group Blow Up. And I'm also now on TikTok as Colored Only Courtney. So, absolutely. So, I say y'all better find me now before that last name change.
Boom,
okay?
bang, connect.
Okay.
I'm going to keep Omega, though. We've already had the conversation. But it will be...
This is Sizzla Kalonji, y'all. This is Take Myself Away, because sometimes we just got to take ourselves away from this foolishness, man.
We do. I love it.
You're still taking what's not yours. Greedy though you got more. Switching on me now, snitching on me now. Picking up dirty attitudes. What's your future then? I'm not sure. Now you lurk on every corner, trying to make $1 from them quarters. Thought you were my friend, give an helping hand. Prove to be my enemy, I can't even trust anyone. I've got to take myself away from all these things that's hurting me. I've got to make my life so free. Seems you don't want nothing good for real. I've got to take myself away from all these things that's hurting me. I've got to make my life so free. Seems you don't want nothing good for real. I waste no time on you, not behaving yourself up in a crime on you. Now there's a fine in you. Now tell me what you gonna do. Willing to help and not to want you to see. Stupid things you do, I just can't believe. Seems you don't know what you really need. Take it, remember life carries its own speed. I was there to motivate you. Seems you don't appreciate it. What is it that generate you to do the bad things I do? I really hate it. I've got to take myself away from all these things that's hurting me. I've got to make my life so free. Seems you don't want nothing good for real. I've got to take myself away from all these things that's hurting me. I've got to make my life so free. Seems you don't want nothing good for real. The world is getting dangerous. Sickness and disease are very contagious. All these bad things happening just ain't for us. God help us out, can you pray for us? I've got to protect my life. I've got to love myself. My heart cries within me. Love and respect, that's what you should be giving me. When you hate each other, you don't know what you're doing to me. If I allow this corruption, it's only ruining me. I've got to take myself away from all these things that's hurting me. I've got to make my life so free. Seems you don't want nothing good for real. I've got to take myself away from all these things that's hurting me. I've got to make my life so free. Seems you don't want nothing good for real. I was there to motivate you. Seems you don't appreciate it. What is it that generate you to do the bad things you do? I really hate it. I've got to take myself away from all these things that's hurting me. I've got to make my life so free. Seems you don't want nothing good for real. I've got to take myself away from all these things that's hurting me. I've got to make my life so free. Seems you don't want nothing good for real. I've got to take myself away from all these things that's hurting me. I've got to make my life so free. Seems you don't want nothing good for real.
Urban Country Morning, your boy Jerry Beautiful, the multi-talented Shells. We in the building. We got to take ourselves away from the bull. You know what I mean? And you know, just to wrap up for the day, I want to encourage you guys, encourage you all to visit this this website we have here on the screen. I'll go ahead and accept these cookies. This website here is thexforboys.org. Right, so make sure you go to this site. You can donate button is right here. Get behind the movement. You know what I mean? Get behind the movement. Let's get behind what's actually working. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Listen, you know, we gotta pay in. We gotta pay it forward in order to get what it is that we want to see out here. Because, you know, them other folks, they don't have no problems cracking open the wallet fund their agenda. We got to be willing to do the same to fund things that are going to benefit us. So, Courtney Omega, is there any way that if people wanted to contribute, how would they be able to reach you to do that?
Oh, absolutely. So you can do it directly through the website, coloredonlycafe.com. The best way to contribute right now is honestly to pick up a membership. I think that we would all agree with that. If you want to do it separately, of course, Cash App is available. And then at the top of the website, there's a little button that still links people back to my Eventbrite link, which does take you right back to different options as far as if you wanted to do a one-time donation. With the Square, that link is available. If you wanted to do a PayPal donation, that link is available. If you want to do Zelle, we have a different financial officer that's set up to handle that account now. So there's always ways to give. There's Square, there's Zelle, there's PayPal, there's Cash App. But the best way to support is to support by picking up a membership with coloredonlycafe.com. And it is nothing like catch it now while it's only $5 a month, because we are expecting to grow it. And as we grow it and we're able to bring other services to the site, of course, that membership is going to increase. Y'all don't complain when Netflix go up and Hulu go up, and so please don't bring it over here either.
Right.
Take it over somewhere else.
And let me also reiterate, when you go ahead and sign up for a membership at coloredonlycafe.com, it's not like you are just it's not like you're just doing this, you're just supporting, right? I definitely want you to understand, right, as I'm scrolling through the page here, the content that Courtney is bringing to you.
And we're bringing more.
Right.
And look at the first Colored Conversation was with, D. King Randall. Like, how many people now can't get an interview with him? That was our first. So we're bringing big names here with content. Like I said, the cooking component starts next month, where we're going to be doing whole live instructional videos on how to take very little in your pantry or very little from the store, because that's a real thing right now. Food shortages in certain areas, food deserts. What we're doing to grow our own with a certain amount of subscriptions. You're going to be a part of the membership package, and you're going to be getting seeds to sow. We already have a recipient down in Florida, Cynthia Willer. She is a part of our membership package, and she gets seeds every month, different seeds sent to her. So, it's not, when we say food for thought and we say cuisine, culture, and conversation, it is literally working in all three of those facets. It's a multifaceted, multi-service opportunity for engagement. So, we are taking in, we're digesting, we're discussing, we are delivering, literally.
Boom, bang, connect. And with that being said, we are at the top of the hour, so I think it's time for you to close it out, babes.
Go ahead, Miss.
First of all, thank you so much for being here with us, Courtney. Groundbreaking interview with King Randall, and please send our blessings to him and let him know that we support him. We're behind him 100%, and tell him to let me know if there's some type of connection with that ex, because I really want to know if that's the ode to Malcolm. It's just gonna seal it for me. It's gonna seal it.
He mentioned at the end, because he did a quote, but now he does the Malcolm X quote. So I know that there's divine alignment there, but he said his X marks spot, because he is a former Marine veteran, and it's like it was a figurative on that, but it's my alarm. It was like a figure of speech and a play on that. But yes, we put our extra stuff all day over here. You already know.
That's what's up, man. Guys, it's been a great Financial Fridays. Courtney Omega, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. Y'all go to check out coloredonlycafe.com. That's coloredonlycafe.com. And